Hello and welcome to the Eating Disorder Therapist podcast. I'm Harriet Frew, eating disorder therapist, here to support you in overcoming disordered eating and finding peace with food. So today I want to talk about some of the subtle food rules that you may be experiencing that perhaps you don't even realize are food rules. And I've decided to do this episode as I'm very aware that several of my clients are struggling with these food rules. So I thought it's hopefully something that many of you will relate to. And I think such an important topic because of often we can just think, what's wrong with me? I've got all this food noise going on. I'm obsessed with food. I'm preoccupied with food. I'm overthinking food. What is going on? And often it's because these sneaky food rules are in the background and playing havoc with your relationship with food. So let's dive in. So restrictive food rules can be sneaky and subtle, almost like shadows lurking in the background and almost accepted as well as part of daily life. Now, when I work with my clients, I'm curious and questioning of their food rules. And clients will regularly assure me that food rules are gone and eating has become relaxed and free. Now, and this is genuinely where they think they are. And certainly that eating has greater ease than in days gone by because most clients have a memory of severe dietary restriction. Back then, the food rules were clear and obvious. Things like no carbohydrates whatsoever, no food before 1 p.m, X number of calories per day, etc., etc. So it's understandable to conclude that the rules have been broken. And you, as my clients, may well be out of the darkest, miserable woods of extreme dietary restriction and navigating a far happier food place. However, subtle rules may be interfering and disrupting your food relationship. And things that might indicate this, perhaps the food noise is intense. You're second guessing every food eating decision. You're obsessing over the next meal or ruminating over the chocolate bar at the bottom of your bag. All of these things could be indicators. So although you're not in the hell of that extreme restriction, you're certainly not yet in the land of food, peace and well-being yet. So here are some of the food rules that you didn't know that you had. Number 1, I'm not hungry enough to eat. Such a common one. So do you relate to this? To allow yourself to eat without torrential waves of guilt, you require a level of hunger that causes blurring vision, stomach growling, and a body close to the point of passing out. Now, I may be slightly exaggerating here, but it's not uncommon to only allow yourself to eat if the hunger is 10 out of 10 ravenous and intense. Never mind the earlier hunger signals of mild irritability, preoccupation with food, as your concentration levels dive at work. These hunger signals do not feel valid or worthy of trusting, and it feels indulgent and unnecessary to respond to these minor inconveniences almost. But only permitting eating when you're intensely hungry is a dangerous business, because your emotional and physical regulation is disrupted, you'll feel anxious and tense, and your nervous system will be in fight-flight. You'll be vulnerable to overeating or binge eating as you've left it too long, and it will be challenging to interpret fullness signals as you're likely to eat quickly as your body desperately needs food. And you're also vulnerable to digestive issues as your hungry, growling stomach is suddenly swamped with food. So you'll feel bloated and uncomfortable, and you might even feel physically sick. So if you struggle with allowing yourself permission to eat without being extremely hungry, you might want to experiment more with the scaffolding of regular eating. So I've done an episode on this really recently. I think it was the last one on the podcast. This offers a safe and stable platform for managing hunger and appetite and offers a springboard for tuning in more adeptly to hunger and fullness. So you do not need to feel guilty for responding to your hunger. It's self-caring and helpful to respond to earlier hunger cues and to lean into this self-trust. Next rule. I ate at X time, so I can't possibly be hungry again yet. So maybe you had breakfast at 8 a.m. and a snack at 10:30. It's now 12:30 and you feel yourself drawn towards food. And maybe you're feeling lightheaded and you can't concentrate any longer on the work task in hand. You look at the clock and it feels too early to eat. You go over your morning consumption so far, you tot up the calories, you question the amount of food that you've eaten, and you think, oh, I couldn't possibly eat again this soon. So you try to delay eating by distracting yourself with cleaning, but your thoughts continue to stray back towards tasty snacks in the fridge. You berate yourself for being greedy and excessive with your eating. But the fact is that you are genuinely hungry. Now, this is okay. It is safe to feel hungry. Your body is telling you that it needs fuel and that you need to eat. It doesn't matter if you only ate X hours ago, particularly if you're recovering from long periods of restrictive eating. Whatever the size and shape of your body, you still need to eat. So use the structure of regular eating as a springboard, again, to support you here. Number 3, the number on the scales dictates my eating. So maybe the first ritual of the day involves jumping out of bed, using the bathroom, and then tentatively lowering yourself onto the weighing scales 1 foot at a time. You step on and step off and check the number several times. And this number is often imprinted firmly in your psyche and directs the course of your day. It is the critical authoritarian that then directs your eating patterns. And if the number has gone down, there is pressure to maintain and continue this trend. It's incredibly seductive to restrict a little more and encourage the trajectory downwards. This often leads to an overriding of hunger and preoccupation with food. And if the number has risen, you may feel conflict in desires. On the one hand, you feel the pressure to restrict and counter the trend. On the other hand, you feel a strong sense of, I'm getting bigger, so why don't I just eat everything? As the self-sabotage monster bellows in your head. Either way, the weighing scales don't tend to help you with attuned and intuitive eating. And if you recognize yourself here, work to reduce the frequency of weighing. If you feel compelled to weigh, limit it to once a week or fortnight, and don't get tied into the micro shifts around weight. Number 4, my stomach looks so bloated, I can't possibly be hungry. So by spending time on social media, you would think that a completely flat stomach is a normal, achievable goal for the average human. Now, yes, for some, this might be a realistic goal without the detrimental starvation and endless gym routines, but for the average human being, a flat stomach is not a viable goal without severe deprivation costs the body. And particularly once you have eaten or drunk anything during the day, it's just not practical. You have vital organs and a whole digestive system within, which is doing its own thing and won't conform to the Instagram standards. And if you're in eating disorder recovery, it's highly likely you'll be bloated and have a distended stomach very often. Your body is adjusting to regular eating and being fed. And if you're consistently checking your mirror reflection for evidence of said flat stomach, this is going to be a miserable and self-depreciating journey. It's another example of only winning by hitting the bullseye on a dartboard with any other target perceived as failure. And then decision making about what to eat is going to be wildly interrupted by any residual bloating that is just part of being human. So do not decide about your food needs based on how your body looks right now. This is a faulty premise. Work to reduce body checking whilst wearing loose and comfortable clothes to support yourself on this journey. Number 5, other people aren't eating, so I can't be hungry. So you're out with friends at a festival, it's getting close to lunchtime, no one is eating. This could be for multiple reasons. Perhaps they've had a later brunch, which was substantial, and now they're not hungry. Maybe they're struggling with their own food issues. Maybe they're using the skinny jab and they have no appetite. And many other reasons beyond these. Now, this can be hugely challenging to manage when you recognize yourself reaching dizzy, food preoccupying levels of hunger and losing the ability to hold a conversation as it's hours since you last ate. However, you don't want to appear greedy and express your desire for food. So in this situation, really stay bravely in your own lane and trust your dear body. Other people will always do weird and wonderful things with food, but this should not dictate your eating. If you're working on recovery, do your regular eating with religious gusto and go and get your meal or snack. No one else will really care that you're eating, and you might even give others permission who may be struggling to eat too. Okay. So I hope you found this helpful and you've related to some of these more subtle food rules. So have a think about what food rules are still lingering for you. How are you working to reduce their impact? And what's your main takeaway from this today? What could you really change? Is it about maybe not getting to absolutely starving, hungry phase, practicing more of that regular eating rather than trying to go on those hunger cues alone? Is it maybe reducing weighing or body checking? Is it about giving yourself permission to eat when others are not eating? Have a think. Okay, thank you so much for listening. And if you're not following me already on Instagram, do seek me out, the Eating Disorder Therapist _. For further support with your relationship with food, do go to the eatingdisordertherapist.co.uk. If you enjoy this podcast, I would be so grateful if you'd follow, rate and review, as it helps it reach so many more listeners. And if you would like written articles of the podcast to your inbox for free twice a week, please subscribe to my Substack. The link is in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to sharing another podcast episode with you very soon.